MBA plants a sort of a framework in your mind that allows you to navigate through unprecedented situations. Academic life gives you some sort of a freedom to pursue your interest without being told what to do, what not to do. In a corporate, you may not have that freedom. Every research adds one drop to the ocean. That is the academic way of research. But when it comes to student research is more about problem analysis and solution. So we have a course in the 6th trimester and it is called Introduction to Generative AI. And all that course teaches you is that when you are in an organization, you should be far more productive than anybody else because you know how to use quite a large number of tools and you know how to use them well.
We have Dr. Ray from Jaipuria Institute of Management, and he has had a lustrous career. He's now an academician, but he's the director of Jaipuria Institute of Management. He has had worked in RBI, so we'll cover a lot of things with him. So, okay, let's again give it a huge round of applause for him. Okay, sir, why start by you introducing yourself?
Okay, good afternoon, young students and my host here. So I started my career with Reserve Bank of India. Okay, so I worked for RBI for about 8 years. I did my studies from Indian Statistical Institute. I know statistics is not a subject you guys like, but I studied there and did my work with RBI for 8 years. Then I did my PhD from IIM Ahmedabad. Then I worked as a dean at Xavier Institute of Management, Bhubaneswar. Then I was with Narsi Monji in Vilepalle as a pro vice chancellor. Then I was the director at IMT Dubai. And now I'm the director at Jaipuria Institute of Management, Noida. And we have, of course, 4 campuses. We have a campus in Lucknow, we have a campus at Indore, we have a campus at Jaipur. And of course, I'm from Noida. So that's broadly about me. I teach in the area of statistics, decision sciences, AI, business analytics. I've taught in many places, both in India and abroad. So happy to interact with you guys. Please feel free to ask whatever you want.
Thank you for introduction, sir. Also, when did the shift of you coming from leaving your job from RBI to pursuing a career as an academician, how did that happen?
Yeah, so sometimes things happen because of serendipity. So, when I was in Reserve Bank, I had finished my master's, as I told you, from ISI. RBI gives you, I was in the research wing of RBI. So RBI used to give you leave to do higher studies. So I was pursuing my PhD at IIM Ahmedabad. And during my studies at IMA, I got an opportunity to teach in France at ESSEC Business School. And then I just fell in love with teaching. I started enjoying teaching a lot. That thought remained in me. I finished my PhD, went back to RBI, continued for about a year. But then I got this offer from Xavier's in Bhubaneswar, XIMB. Went to that place and interacted with the faculty and the students there, and I loved the place. So I said, okay, end of my Reserve Bank career, let's start academics journey. And it's been a great journey. I really enjoyed, no regrets at all. I thoroughly enjoyed. I traveled the world, met lots of young people, faculty.
Awesome. Why do you still choose to teach? You already have a lot on your plate.
Yeah, teaching keeps you young. The most important thing about a teacher is the teacher is young at heart. And that is only because we are inside a classroom with people who are sometimes a third of our age, sometimes half our age. And that is such an important, ingredient to the life of a faculty member. And even if I am an administrator, I head the institute, I have to be inside the class because I need to know what guys are thinking, what is stopping them from reaching their potential, or they have some grievance against the institute, or they have something in their mind but are not able to speak openly. So I need to get to understand, because even though I don't say students are our customers, but we have a contract with the students to give you the best, and we expect the best from you. And that can only happen if I understand what's going on in your mind and read the signals that you guys are throwing, sometimes speaking it out, but sometimes not speaking it out also. So that's very important for me to be in touch.
And I'm sure you obviously interact with a lot of them, and you also know some of them personally.
Yeah,
So,
quite a few of them, yeah.
right. So again, if you had to, like, you interact with people these days, students these days, what would you say are some of their strengths and some probably weaknesses that they really need to work on? If you had to generalize your observation here.
Students across the globe share one common trait, and that is their turnaround time is very fast. So if you give them some work, they'll come back to you very fast. And that is what I think is actually a weakness. Students today do not want to do little bit more deeper work. You want to come and respond very fast without actually going slightly deeper than what is maybe stated in that issue or the problem or the task. The day you begin to practice this art consciously, that okay, I've been given this assignment, let me go beyond this a little bit to really understand all the aspects of it, that day you will start enjoying your assignments and your work in whatever responsibility. It could be running a restaurant to fulfilling a assignment in some course. All of it does require a little bit of a deeper work than what is typically stated, because problems cannot be stated with every step in full detail. So you need to do that extra work. So that extra work is something I think the students today don't want to do, because the world has changed a lot. I mean, everything is on your mobile, and so retention our attention span, everything is reduced. Once that happens, student also slowly but without really fully consciously, you begin to try to respond also faster, and that's not necessary all the time. So take some more extra time, but go deeper in whatever you are doing. That's, I think, would be a great way to, I would say, important message to the students today. Yeah.
You have some expertise in AI,
Yeah.
and I've heard a couple of your videos where you talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the curriculum of Jaipuria and
Yeah.
how does AI come into the picture of redesigning MBA curriculum for the coming batches and for the workforce that the employers want the students to learn.
Okay, so I think we were the first ones to really appreciate that how AI is going to change a lot of things, including business curriculum. The fundamentally what is going to happen is there will be two kinds of employees in any organization. The one employee who would know how to collaborate with AI, and the other employee who would not know how to collaborate with AI. And with the passage of time, the people who would not know how to collaborate with AI in their work would be reducing rapidly, and they would become extinct. So it's very important for business students. See, business students need not have deep technical knowledge about how AI works. If you have it, great. But even if you don't have it, you should have expert level knowledge about how to collaborate with AI. And what does it really mean, collaborate with AI? It simply means you are far more productive than a person who doesn't know how to use AI intelligently. So AI can be used playfully, right? All of you may have used Chat GPT and used it for fun, but that's one aspect of it. But there's a purposeful and meaningful use of AI that you must all learn. At our institute, we have taken this challenge head on. So we have a course in the 6th trimester, and it is called Introduction to Generative AI. And all that course teaches you is that when you are in an organization, you should be far more productive than anybody else, because you know how to use quite a large number of tools, and you know how to use them well. It's just not about knowing these are the 5 tools and this is the landscape of the tools, but you know how to use them tools well to solve specific problems. It could be analyzing a financial statement. How can I use AI to analyze a financial statement? How can I use AI to make a better marketing plan, etc., etc., etc.? So that's one course we do. That is a course. And we have also introduced a half course, which I would say, typically a course is 3 credits. So half course is 1.5 credits, lesser number of hours, and which is an introduction to AI in general for everyone. That course only teaches you that what is the landscape, what is it that you should watch out for, and how is this world evolving, and how do you find your place in that world and in that organization, the new shape that the organization is going to take. So that is 2 courses. In other than that, we have AI pervasively used in courses. So some faculty in communication will teach you how to do better structured thinking using prompts. So the more you interact with a language model, your thinking about an issue in a structured manner will improve. And that's what we teach. So there are a lot of smaller examples, and of course there are 2 explicit courses that we do. Yeah.
Awesome. I want to double click on this one thinking aspect that you spoke about,
Yeah.
using AI to think deeply, because
Yeah.
that is one problem that you see a lot of students face, that they don't get into an issue very deeply, because sometimes also because of the environment, it incentivizes them to be quicker. So through the use of AI, can you give us some examples of how can somebody to use it to think deeply or to think better?
Let's say you are doing a small analysis of a situation of a case where there is a clearly stated problem that the sales are going down. Now, if you submit that situation to AI and ask for certain solutions to that particular problem, and AI will generate a fairly good level solution in round one. But that cannot be your final solution. What is required of you is to critically analyze that. When I say critically analyze, critically think, it means it is not just understanding all the issues that are relevant in that situation, but also what is relevant is to understand which issue is important and which issue is less important. And that is where the critical thinking aspects come, being able to assign weights to issues. Not everything is equally important, and that is where your MBA curriculum focuses on, and AI can help you to at least come to a reach where stage where you fully understand what is it involves, but then your application of your mind is required to give you the right sense of what is important, what is lower important, prioritize and take action accordingly. And that cannot happen relying solely on AI. That will come through your understanding of the situation, your reading of the subjects that you are being taught. All of that is important. Yeah.
And at Jaipuria, do you incentivize students to use AI to probably do their homework or do some tasks that they have assigned to?
Yes, of course. And we have a very clearly stated policy around that. So I don't think many institutes have that. We have a clear AI guidelines policy issued not just for faculty and staff, but also for students. And if you have used AI, you need to submit the prompts, for example, along with that. So we know that how you have evolved in your interaction with AI. AI is encouraged, but they would be explicitly stated in your course outline. So it's like course outline basically details everything that is going to be taught there in the session plan, and it'll also tell you, okay, this is what you can do, this is what you cannot do, this is what is an ethical use of AI, this is what is not allowed, etc., etc.
So I was reading an article, I think in December, that since we talk about upskilling of faculties is also very important. And B School also focuses, and I mean, the quality of students and the kind of growth that they have depends on the kind of faculties they are learning from as well. And it's great that B schools are taking professor of practice for teaching their curriculum. Do we have any initiatives for professors also to upskill so that they are abreast and can teach students what's relevant?
Okay, so it is mandatory in our, I'm talking about Jaipuria Institute, that everywhere year we do a 1 week long faculty development program. That program is mostly focused on pedagogy. Essentially, it means how can you become a better teacher. So we get experts from all over the place. Faculty are trained. So that happens just before the academic year begins. That's one very structured intervention. Other than that, every faculty has a budget given to them, and they want to pick up a course. Let's say I am teaching marketing, and I want to understand how AI can be used in marketing. Okay. Now, I don't know much about AI, but I still want to deliver this course to the students. So I can pick up a course from anywhere, online, offline. So I know, for example, one of our faculties went to IM Cozy Code, picked up a course on marketing strategy, and brings that knowledge into the class. Other than that, every course we bring industry practitioners. So every core course will have two people from the industry who will come and speak to you, and therefore also exchange ideas of what's happening in the industry today with the faculty who's anchoring the course. So that's where the faculty is evolving. And the third aspect, which is the the bedrock of any academic institution, is research. So majority of the faculty are engaged in research in their areas, and we fund those researchers, we incentivize research so that faculty are up to date on what is happening in their particular areas of expertise.
Just out of curiosity, do you see lack of interest from students making career as an academician later down the line? See that as a problem eventually in the
Not
future?
in percentage times, I mean, what I have interacted with, I've been here with Jaipur Institute of Management now for 2 years, exactly 2 years. and I have seen very explicit expression of interest to pursue academics from 5 students. I think as a percentage, that is not bad at all, because when you pursue academics, you do invest 4 to 5 years in a PhD somewhere in a good institute, then become a career. So given that you have invested in an MBA program, you have already made up your mind you want a corporate career at a certain level of salary expectation and a certain way of your life. And out of that, if there is about 4 and 5, that's about 2% of the batch would like to at some point. I think it's a healthy percentage. It's perfectly fine. And sometimes you get a call to join academics much later in your life. Today you are 22, 23. Maybe after 5 years you decide I want to become a professor. There's a lot I have learned, now I want to go back to the classroom. You may get that call later in your life. It's may not be during your MBA days. But therefore I would say a 2 or even less than 2% is a healthy percentage.
You also emphasized on the focus of research at Jaipuria. When we talk about research, lately it has become a necessary skill where students have to learn no matter what elective they pursue or the job they do later. We also see a lot of bad research practices happening, as in people say that data is a gospel, but data can also be biased, and you have to understand where to pick sources from and to collect proper data from. So, how are methods different at Jaipuria from probably other B schools?
There are two things. One is research done by students, and other thing is about research by faculty. They are little bit apart. When an academician approaches a research, he or she would approach it as trying to build knowledge, extend the knowledge to something else in a very, very, very specific, very sharply defined area. Okay, it will be a very pinpointed. You may say, why is he doing this? If you don't appreciate research, who's going to read it? That will be a natural question, because it will be so specific. But so every research adds one drop to the ocean. That is the academic way of research. But when it comes to student research is more about problem analysis and solution. That means the data, you would be given a data from a live project of some FMCG. How do you analyze that data using various available tools? So you come with a recommendation that this is what the company might like to do. That is the student research. So the student research is slightly different, where they are trying to solve a problem. Faculty is also trying to solve a certain problem, but the ultimate intention is to increase the pool of knowledge, maybe add a drop to the big ocean. So there we look at it very differently. Some students, as I said, that 2% which I referred to, some students who are able to take this little jump from moving to just solving a problem to start actually wanting to contribute to more general body of knowledge, they start collaborating with our faculty, and they start writing papers for journals and conferences. There are quite a few. In fact, in current batch, I know there are at least 6 students who have written papers and presented in I am Jammu, I am Indore, I am Ahmedabad, and in Bangalore. They have gone and presented, collaborated with faculty, not solely written but jointly written with the faculty. So research has to be looked at as a problem solving approach, as well as adding to the body of knowledge. So students typically take a problem solving approach to research.
Okay, so I want to kind of again ask you this question, that doing an MBA in India versus doing an MBA in abroad, how do you go about selecting this, or how do you go about figuring this out for yourself?
So there are two things that you should understand. First, you should understand yourself. What is it that you want to do? What kind of life you want to visualize for yourself? Second is, once you visualize that love, there are many ways to get to that, right? So what is an MBA? So you need to first clarify to yourself what is it that you want to do. That is, what is it that you are, who you are in terms of your aspirations. What do you like studying? What you don't like studying? What kind of a personality characteristics that you want to you portray, and how your friends describe you. These will give you signals about what you really would like to do. And then you need to understand MBA. So what does an MBA essentially do to you? MBA gives you, first of all, first and foremost, MBA plants a sort of a framework in your mind that allows you to navigate through unprecedented situations, so that whatever decisions you take would likely to be successful, as opposed to not doing an MBA. So that is the foremost thing that an MBA does to you. Of course, there are other side benefits of an MBA. You get to network. in your class and your peers, you get access to the corporate world, because you have to be in the corporate world, you have to earn something, right? So you get access to the corporate world. So your way of looking at the world, so your world, the way you look at the world changes dramatically. You also, you pick up a lot of new English vocabulary. Every course will throw at you 50 new words which you've not heard. Okay, and so, as you know, George Bernard Shaw, and most of you may have heard about him, he said a very interesting statement. He said professionals are a conspiracy against the layman. You know what it essentially means? Because if you use a lot of professional language, in ordinary person will be left out. You'll find, oh my god, what is this guy speaking, and I don't understand any of it. But what essentially means are some very basic things, it may be, but they are encapsulated in some sort of a very jargonish way. That also is one MBA. MBA will give you a lot of vocabulary, lot of new words, language, so that when you speak to someone, you would, in your normal conversation, it will come up. Today, you cannot speak like that, like an MBA graduate. Your English, however fluent it may be, and however structured thinking you may have, your conversation will never be like someone who has done an MBA, because he will be using words which you will not be using. That is a very important thing that you must all remember when you get into a business school. Now the question comes about abroad and India. Now, fundamentally, that is a decision of affordability more than anything else. I think there are equally good schools. I am very proud of Jaipuria Institute of Management. We are 45th rank. Everybody gets placed. People are coming from tier 2, tier 3 towns and have a transformative experience without having a culture shock of living in Noida, coming from some rural background. So imagine if the same guy is going to an NYC Stern, maybe the person can maybe get a culture shock. Not so here. So I think the question is whether you want to study in India or study abroad fundamentally is an affordability question. Yes, of course, there is a merit of studying in Harvard versus an Indian business school. Nobody can question that. But are you ready? Lot of people that I have seen in my life, whether at IMA, my batchmates, or from XIMB, they've gone to do a second MBA, but very, very late, maybe in their 30s. They want to do an executive MBA focused on leadership. That time you're far more clear. You've tasted the corporate world. Now you understand that in next 5 to 7 years, I want to get a CXO in my designation, and this is how I am going to approach it. I first and foremost, I need to network with the current CXOs. So let me get into a Harvard or AMSA or an INSEAD business school and do a executive leadership kind of an MBA. So that I would say is a long term plan.
You spoke about getting in students from tier 2, tier 3 cities and states also. So, are there any special programs or special attention given to them so that they are corporate ready? Because I'm assuming they have to be molded a little more.
You guys are from Delhi. Every one of you would have a laptop, probably, or you may have at least one in your home. Even if you don't have it individually, someone will have in your homes. In a tier 2, 3 city, at least a large percentage, not very large, but small percentage do come, who may not even have a laptop at their homes. So they need to be trained in some of those skills. Maybe communication is not great, but they have a lot of fire in their belly. They can solve real problems, but they may not be as fluent in English as you would like them. So yes, so before they come, we have a 3-week preparatory program, and every student goes through that, and ultimately they integrate or mingle with the batch just like that. So you will not be able to make a distinction. I think the way we are designed, I think we at Jaipuria Institute of Management, we have 11 principles by which we live. That those 11 principles are pasted in my room and pasted in every faculty member's room. And one of the principles there is student first. And what student first essentially means is not that I will say yes to every request you make to me. Sir, I can't take exam tomorrow. Can I do it? Sorry. That is not student first. Student first for us means we at the institute, I and all my faculty colleagues and staff are here for your long-term success.
One last question before I open the floor for questions for audience. How is alumni connect at Jaipuria like? Because I'm assuming alumni also play a key role in having that B school experience where you get to kind of have a mentorship with them, or they are the first person you reach out to if you have something to corporate careers to talk about. So how is that connect like?
So we connect with alumni. Of course, the usuals we do. We do what is called a very large event called Punar Sangam. Every year we invite alumni from all over the world who come to our campus and they have a fun-filled evening. That's one. Okay, that's just fun. But then there are other aspects. So we have alumni chapters. So for example, we will do a meet with all the people is living in Mumbai, and we'll do a Mumbai alumni chapter. We did one recently in Dubai. Mumbai is happening on 22nd of January. So these are chapters. These are how we connect. But the real integration of alumni with the institute is in your mentoring and in your individual development plans. I have one of our former students here, Mr. Suri here, who is working for Standard Chartered. He, for example, is a person who would come into the campus and interact with our current students in their individual development plan and tell us, help you understand where your strengths lie and what kind of career would suit you best, and how ready are you today, and what steps you need to take to be more ready. So this is how we engage. So alumni have a deep engagement at multiple levels in your summer projects, in our individual development plans, and of course we connect through the events that we have. Those are the fun events also. So yes, so they are there. And in our campus, we do two other events. One is called Marg Darshan. What happens is that an alumni will come there. Don't think I'm saying Marg Darshan means that fellow is an old person. Is no, he may be just passed 2 years ago. He will come and talk to you about how is a day in his office or her office. And that is so enlightening for the students. They understand, oh, this guy is working in Axis Bank, and this is how day looks like, and this is how he or she prepares for the day. That is deeply insightful. So we do that kind of event called Marg Darshan. And one fun-filled event we do is called a coffee with alumni, where it's more fun. It's more like a quiz, and it's a different informal setting. So these are the ways we engage with alumni.
I would like to open the floor for questionnaire for our audience.
How can someone from an institute like Jaipuria break into domains like private equity, hedge funds, or like venture capital?
Okay, so prepare for your finance courses very well. Okay, so let's look at it like this. There are two ways to break into these firms. One way, if the firm themselves coming into the campus to hire, these firms are extremely CGPA sensitive. They only take the top of the batch. Okay, so the first thing is to prepare so well in your academics, particularly in your finance specializations that you are. You are at top in terms of the knowledge, your financial analysis, everything you understand, fundamental analysis, technical, everything you really deep. So that's one. But suppose you don't get that role through the campus. You suddenly would like to be broadly in the financial sectors, right? And then once you're in that sector, you would find your way through your networks, through other portals anyway, because of your experience and your knowledge that you gain. But fundamental to that is to have a very solid understanding of the domain that you are trying to reach and break into that. So private equity firm may not come, but you may get a private equity firm if you have entered, let's say, BlackRock. I think this year 11, if I'm not wrong, 11 or 13 people have joined BlackRock Financials from our campus in Noida, right? Now, many of them, I know one of them is a statistics postgraduate and done an MBA. And I'm sure in 3 years' time, you will hear that she is in some PE firm or investment banking and IB firm. So this is up to you how you chart your, trajectory. But nothing will work if the domain side is not solid.
Hello, sir. So you have done PhD. So can you share insights if someone do PhD in management? What are the career opportunities opens a door for them?
So there are broadly two career opportunities. Let's say you've done a PhD in how AI can be used in business, very broadly stating. I'm not going to a precise problem. Now there are two ways. You could either become an academician. If your work is current and it is liked by people, you may become a professor in some institute, or you may be hired by a corporate, because a lot of business houses, I will tell you IMA data I know. At a certain, when I joined, they were about 60-40. That means 60% of the people would become academicians and 40% would join the corporate sector. Today that ratio is 70-30. Because a lot of IMs have come in after I finished. They're like 20 IMs in the country now. So then opportunities have grown. But that again ratio may tilt over a period of time. Ultimately, what is it that you want to do? If you've done your PhD, you may suddenly like academic life, because academic life gives you some sort of a freedom to pursue your interest without being told what to do, what not to do. In a corporate, you may not have that freedom. If your mental makeup is such that you like to work deeply on very specific issues, and you like to be left alone sometimes and engage when you want to engage, then you might choose an academic life. The corporate life for a PhD is extremely rewarding. The pays will be much higher than an MBA, because you will have a very specialized, deep research kind of a role in this corporate. You'll do some very fundamental work in those organizations. You will be compensated heavily for such tools.
Sir, my question is profile related. In my 12th grade, I didn't score well. Actually, I did, but I didn't appear for one of my additional subjects, and it is lowering down my score. And also, I don't have any work ex. I am currently appearing for B schools interviews. So, will it affect my summer internships or like PIs, and how can I tackle that? Because my seniors have told me that it will be very difficult for you compared to your colleagues for getting in placements and all if your 12th grade is not good, because they will consider in placement, every company will consider that also.
So if your 12th is not good, it can't work to your advantage. Let's understand that. But is it a very big disadvantage? That is the real question. Is it the only thing that comes to your mind when you talk about yourself, or there are 5 other great things that about you, your story, how you've let's say recovered from a setback in 12 and did well in undergraduates exams, right?
Yes.
Is there a story? Can you spin around it? Can you talk about yourself that way? There are many other things that you will do in your life which will overshadow a little, let's say, a weakness someone had experienced at some point of time. An average recruiter, for trying to do the work easily, would like to put everything in an Excel sheet and filter and do that. It can happen, but it doesn't matter. People who had one setback cannot make it up there. No, that would be a belief, very wrong belief to carry in your mind. It'll harm you. You should not let that happen. Rather, you have to look at your strengths, your positives that you have gained in life, and talk about them. I have achieved this, I play this, I'm a good debater, or I have solved this problem, or I took this challenge, and when nobody was there, I do this. You will have hundreds of stories if you think about it. You might be 20 or 19-year-old today, 21-year-old or something today. So there will be a few stories. So your life should be around those things. So an average recruiter will look at it. But once someone faces you and interacts with you, they are looking at the person. You, not what is there on the paper. What are they trying to see to you? Will this guy fit in my team? Is this guy teachable? Is he open-minded, willing to learn? These are the things the student, the interviewer is trying to understand. And if you are scoring there well, you will excel. So this cannot be the only thing that you should think about, and let that not be something in your back of your mind always.
I just have a generic question. So in SOPs, statement of purposes, there is a question asked like, how can you add value to the cohort? I want to know like, I am a fresher. How can I add value to the cohort because I do not have any work ex?
How would you add value? You tell me. You would add value by sharing your how you look?
Experiences.
No. Will you add value by being the most handsome man in the class? No.
No.
You would add value how? Tell me. How do you think you can add value in this room? How do you think you added value now? Answer this question, you have your answer. How did you add value today? Just now you added immense value to this discussion. You don't know how. You asked a great question. That's how you added a value. That can come from work experience. But without experience doesn't mean I am zero. I have a lot of things, lot of curiosity. I bring in curiosity, I bring in energy, I bring in perspectives, and I come with lots of doubts. And I ask so simple questions, and I'll tell you, simple questions are the hardest to answer. So I bring in the most simple of questions. You added value to this discussion without even knowing. Because that is a question that I am sure many of them will share here. How do I write this answer in SOP? You are going to talk about your background, okay? I come from this. So in a different cultural setting, I will be able to bring perspectives from my background, my experiences in this, other in your school, colleges, and your interest. So let's say you have a great hobby, maybe you collect stamps, or maybe you just like coding, or you follow some Formula 1 race. You can bring some knowledge from those domains. That's how you add value as a person. You also add value by being a person of very high character, you know. So you are an extremely ethical person, and you are an unbiased person. So you can say that, by I would look at issues and friends and people in the most objective and unbiased manner, and I am sure people around me will learn a lot from that when they see in me in that form. That is how you add value.
Suppose a student think of some other career, they give prepare for it, they give exam of it, then after their mind is shift, then they prepare for the CAT and enroll for the MBA and get some good university. And in the interview, if interviewer asks where did you put your 1 year or 2 years, like that time is student is like fluctuating their mind. So how can we deal with that question, that where we put that gap year and like that? What is our exact answer to the interviewer like that?
Deal with it honestly. There's
Okay.
no other answer. When you speak honestly, it will show in your eyes, it will show in your the glow of your face, and people will appreciate that. उसको छुपाने का जरूरत नहीं, आप उसको छुपा नहीं सकते. How, why to hide? You are a young people, you are out on a journey. Life is exploration. You started exploring. You changed course somewhere. That's okay. Just because the person is on the other side of the desk, don't think he is God. He or she is as vulnerable, has the similar experience as you. Trust me, everyone, you are all human. We all share a common thing. Only the age is a difference. So don't hide. Deal with it honestly.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Ray, for your time. Students loved it.